better by herself when they come home at night. That's what Shannon needs. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl.
I do.
This is your auntie talking to you. Take your old ass and get your old up there that can love you old.
Shannon Sharpe is no stranger to controversy, but this time, the headlines are not about hot takes or on-air debates. They're about something far darker. Once celebrated as an NFL legend and one of the loudest, boldest voices in sports commentary, Sharpe now stands accused of actions so disturbing, they threaten to wipe out everything he's built.
My family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Buzbee, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Buzbee targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Buzbee want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys.
A staggering $50 million lawsuit has hit the sports world like a wrecking ball, accusing him of some of the worst behavior imaginable. This isn't just a hit to his reputation, it's an all-out collapse. The lawsuit paints a grim picture of manipulation, exploitation, and betrayal. And it's not just the viewers who are shocked.
If you say that one more time, I'm gonna choke out of you when I see you.
Is Shannon Sharpe the next Justin Baldoni? Well, the NFL legend and broadcaster is definitely taking a play from Justin's playbook. After a $50 million lawsuit of SA, he is now dropping a treasure trove of text messages that he says declares his innocence.
Industry insiders, former colleagues, and even some of Sharpe's biggest supporters are reportedly scrambling to distance themselves from the chaos. For a man who made a career calling out other athletes and holding people accountable, the irony here is brutal. As the case unfolds, the allegations keep piling up. Every detail that comes out seems to hit harder than the last.
The text message says, I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're screwing me.
My lawyers are telling, the legal team is telling me that we can't authenticate it if he said that, and he's not denying it.
The sports world is watching stunned as one of its most recognizable faces fights to keep his career and maybe his freedom from slipping through his fingers. But the biggest gut punch? This scandal is only just getting started. If anyone knows the real Shannon Sharpe, it's Skip Bayless. These two shared a desk for years, turning their heated debates on Undisputed into must-watch TV. But now, that partnership looks more like a ticking time bomb that finally went off.
This is his statement that he did not mean it. It was in the heat of the moment, in the middle of an argument.
That's right, Ellison. Sharpe's attorney says his client's accuser is making, quote, a maliciously false claim, and Sharpe's attorney is promising a lawsuit to, quote, hold her accountable.
In a twist nobody saw coming, Skip Bayless has stepped forward, breaking his silence on what he calls the poisonous culture behind the scenes at Fox Sports. According to insiders, Bayless didn't just hint at the dysfunction, he allegedly confirmed it. The culture, he says, wasn't just toxic, it was downright dangerous. And while Bayless carefully stopped short of naming names, the implications are loud and clear. Sources say Bayless directly acknowledged that certain high-profile
Shannon Sharpe's willingness to pay is not an admission of anything that he did wrong. It was a willingness to pay for the protection of his family and himself.
If the former football star would proceed with legal action if the accuser were to drop her lawsuit, and Sharpe's attorney says he does not know what Sharpe would do in that scenario, but says his recommendation would be to move forward with legal action.
Personalities at Fox abused their positions, turning the network into what he described as a playground for predators. His statements have fans and media outlets pointing the finger right back at Sharpe. It's a betrayal that feels personal. These two were co-hosts, rivals, even frenemies. But now Bayless seems to be washing his hands of the mess, throwing gasoline on the fire instead of standing by his former co-star. And whether he meant to or not, his comments have only intensified the public outrage. But what exactly did Bayless say?
And Shannon himself is dropping receipts. And I gotta say, this doesn't look good for his accuser at all.
And she says that she alleges that was brutal, like it was very it was aggressive.
And why did he choose this moment to speak out? We're just scratching the surface. The lawsuit filed against Sharpe isn't just shocking, it's devastating. The plaintiff, listed as Jane Doe to protect her identity, claims that what started as a relationship with the Hall of Famer quickly turned into something horrifying. According to court documents, Doe alleges that Sharpe repeatedly crossed every line.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I do see some similarities here to the Justin case. Look, Justin has now, and Johnny Depp to his credit as well.
Now, this woman is alleging that Shannon Sharpe multiple times over the course of a 2-year relationship. The relationship that they had was...
She says he essayed her multiple times over the course of their relationship, but it didn't stop there. She accuses him of secretly recording intimate moments and then sharing those videos without her knowledge or consent. The betrayal, she claims, left her emotionally destroyed. The accusations span from 2023 through January 2025, meaning this wasn't a one-time incident.
Who are being falsely accused to drop their receipts in the most public and aggressive way possible, because if you don't, the PR can deem you guilty before you even get to a court of law.
At that point, she said that they were in a they were in an actual relationship. They were in Vegas together. So when that happened, she had already kind of been, in this thing where he's verbally abusive, allegedly, but she thought that they were together.
These were repeated acts spread out over years. And the most recent event, allegedly just months before this lawsuit was filed. The complaint also describes how Sharpe used his power, status, and influence to isolate her. The woman claims Sharpe gaslighted her, manipulated her into silence, and even threatened retaliation if she ever spoke out.
He tells her and threatens her allegedly to say that he will, she ever does that again. But the part of it, she says that she was allegedly anally twice and that it was very, very brutal.
Plaintiff alleged that the essays took place after a rocky, years-long, aggressive relationship with the sports commentator.
It's a brutal narrative, one that has many fans questioning whether the outspoken commentator they watch daily was hiding something much. Darker behind the scenes, Jane Doe's legal team isn't backing down either. They've reportedly collected text messages, voicemails, and even videos that they say prove their case. These aren't vague claims, they come with receipts. And while Sharpe has fiercely denied the accusations, calling them nothing more than a cash grab, the case has already done serious damage.
Sharpe and Doe met at a gym in LA in 2023 when she was 20 years old and he was in his mid-50s. Doe claimed that Club Shay Show host told her during the encounter that he would buy her fake tatas.
Sponsorships are said to be pulling out. Sharpe's media appearances are being quietly canceled. His once dominant media presence crumbling by the day. But there's even more to this story. And what comes next could be the final nail in the coffin. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse for Shannon Sharpe, the ghosts of his past came knocking. And they're not going away quietly. As this $50 million lawsuit explodes across headlines, people are digging back into Sharpe's history, and what they're finding isn't pretty.
He demanded complete control over her time and body, expecting her to be at his home, on his schedule, at his command whenever he called, attorney Tony Busby wrote in the document.
One accusation, buried under the rug for over a decade, is now making its way back into the spotlight. Back in 2010, a female colleague at Fox Sports accused Sharpe of physically assaulting her during an argument, claiming he choked her during a heated altercation at the network's studio. At the time, the situation was handled behind closed doors. Lawyers got involved.
Doe became frightened when they allegedly got into the explosive argument, which the former player visibly had a arm, on his person, or I guess in the room.
Money allegedly changed hands. The case was settled privately and quietly. No courtroom drama, no press conferences. But make no mistake, the allegations were serious. And now, that incident is being dragged right back into the conversation. Legal experts are pointing out how this older accusation paints a disturbing pattern, a history of alleged aggression toward women that Sharpe can't just shake off.
Plaintiff tried sharing her location with her friend's phone just in case, but Sharpe saw her doing this, and the moment he realized what she was doing, grabbed her, told her, "If you ever do that again, I will effing K."
Social media is on fire, with fans questioning how many other incidents might have been swept under the rug to protect one of Fox Sports' biggest names. The timing of this resurfaced claim couldn't be worse for Sharpe. With the current lawsuit grabbing national attention, this older allegation feels less like an isolated mistake and more like the first domino that started the fall. But if Sharpe thought he could out-argue his way out of this like one of his on-air debates, he's finding out the hard way. This is a fight he can't just talk his way through. Shannon Sharpe isn't backing down. In fact, he's come out swinging. From the moment the lawsuit hit the news cycle, Sharpe's camp has labeled the entire case a shakedown, calling the accuser a liar and accusing her of trying to cash in on his fame. His legal team rushed to the media, releasing a string of text messages and screenshots that they claim prove the relationship was consensual and affectionate. They've framed these messages as the smoking gun that will clear Sharpe's name. But here's the problem. The accuser's attorney came prepared, and they hit back hard. The plaintiff's legal team responded by unveiling what they say are damning audio recordings, tapes that allegedly capture Sharpe making threatening and aggressive statements toward the woman. According to sources close to the case, one of the recordings features Sharpe raising his voice, lashing out in what they describe as an unhinged and volatile tone, allegedly telling the accuser that nobody will believe you if she ever tried to expose him. Suddenly, those text messages don't feel like the clean defense Sharpe's team hoped they would be, even more damaging. Reports suggest there are witnesses ready to testify. Friends of the accuser who allegedly saw the bruises, heard the threats, and now stand ready to back her claims in court. And as this case gears up for what could be a messy, high-profile legal showdown, Sharpe's usual charm and sharp wit are powerless here. The question now isn't just about guilt or innocence, it's about whether Sharpe's defense can survive the mounting evidence stacking up against him. But while Sharpe scrambles to salvage his reputation, his former co-host Skip Bayless is dealing with his own ugly skeletons. If Skip Bayless thought he could sit on the sidelines and play the role of righteous whistleblower, he might want to rethink that plan. Because while Sharpe is busy fighting for his career, Bayless is caught in his own firestorm of allegations. And this one hits disturbingly close to home. A former Fox Sports hairstylist has filed a lawsuit accusing Bayless of sexual harassment, claiming he offered her a staggering $1.5 million for intimate favors. The hairstylist, who worked directly with Bayless on set, says the sports host repeatedly crossed professional boundaries, making unwanted advances and offering cash in exchange for personal attention. But this wasn't just a one-off comment or awkward misunderstanding. According to the lawsuit, Bayless exhibited a pattern of inappropriate behavior, turning what should have been a professional environment into what the plaintiff describes as a hostile and degrading workplace. The stylist claims that when she rejected his advances, her hours were cut and she was quietly pushed out of the studio. And this isn't the first time Bayless has been accused of mistreating staff behind the scenes. Industry whispers about his alleged bullying and toxic attitude have been circulating for years. But this lawsuit is the first time those rumors have landed in black and white legal filings. So, while Bayless may have been quick to point fingers at Sharpe, the spotlight is now glaring back at him. And it raises an uncomfortable question. Was the culture at Fox Sports broken because of one bad apple? Or was this rot running much deeper? As both men face lawsuits that could permanently stain their careers, the sports world is left wondering whether this is just the beginning of a much bigger reckoning. The repercussions are swift and absolutely brutal. Shannon Sharpe has now stepped away from his high-profile role at ESPN, a move that feels less like a break and more like an admission that the walls are closing in. Meanwhile, Skip Bayless has officially departed from Fox Sports, quietly exiting the stage as the lawsuits against him pick up steam. But the fallout doesn't stop with these two. The entire network is under fire. Fox Sports is now facing multiple lawsuits, each one exposing more cracks in what insiders are calling a deeply broken system, a place where power protected the wrong people and silence was the unspoken rule. The unraveling of Sharpe and Bayless's career serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked power and misconduct. As the legal battles unfold, the sports media landscape braces for further revelations. The once celebrated duo now stands as a cautionary tale of fame, power, and the fall that follows.